Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel, What the Beck. My voice is broken and I can't get that to sound good, so we're moving on. Today we are going to first flip through November in my bullet journal, but then we will be decorating December, which will be, I think it's like neon theme, but I called it like bowling alley theme, and you all picked that theme in the poll last month. But I will be retiring the polls because I did like how it was interactive, but it really was functioning as like a way for me to use up supplies that I have. And now that I don't really have many supplies, I'm just going to go with either like a set of things, like I might do like a year of flowers or like a year of like certain colors or something, but I don't know just yet what I'm doing for next year. But I'm going to retire the polls just because, yeah, it was fun while it lasted, but I need to be able to do what I think of instead of like relying on the poll to tell me what stuff to use up. But anyway, so this theme was really fun. It's like neon, and it looks kind of like the carpet or like seats on like the carpet of a bowling alley or the seats on like a coach bus. I think when I was in like middle and high school, we would go on like long distance, like 2 or 3 hour trips sometimes, and the seats on the like buses looked like this. So they're kind of like either black or dark gray, and they had a bunch of crazy neon colored shapes on them. So I wanted to recreate that. So as you saw, I just painted a page of my bullet journal black, and then I scribbled some colors of like highlighters onto some scrap paper. And I really liked this method where I like drew it and then cut it out and glued them on instead of what I was originally planning, which was to painstakingly paint around each of the shapes on the on the page itself, and that would have been very time consuming and detailed, and I'm trying to do this as like a form of expression, but at the end of the day I don't want to spend like 100 hours on one page. So this was a good way it was still like enough time to get you into that like crafty zen type of state, but not enough that it's like taking way too much time, which doing it that intricately with the paintbrush would have been more than I wanted to do. So yeah, now I am going to write out the name of the month because you gotta do that. And I don't really have to mention this, but I am switching over to just one page for the spread, and I like how the patterns were coming out. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to continue doing patterns or what next year, but yeah, so I need to put the name on there. So I cut it out, glued it on, and then start gluing on all the little shapes. And when you're gluing on the shapes, you have to be like really careful. Well, I guess you don't have to, but to get it to look balanced or kind of like it would have been manufactured, you want to try to get the pattern somewhat random. Like you don't always want to put blue right next to blue, like you want to kind of evenly space it throughout the page. And I kind of overlapped some of them but not all of them, and I think that helped add to it and like make it look more complex and nicer, because they were like, I don't know, because I feel like those things on the like the carpet of the bowling alley, they run into each other and they overlap sometimes. So I wanted to keep that in my design as well. And time skip, we are done that page now. I like how it turned out. And now I'm going to just go over to the other page. The way that November ended, I only needed one more page, so I turned this into a note page for December. And I really needed a note page, as you can see, because I used it before I even decorated it with a packing list. And now I'm moving on to my habit tracker spread / achievements. If you are new to this channel, I call them achievements instead of habits because it makes it more like a game or a positive experience rather than just focusing on what I didn't do. It's like count out the total number of achievements that I got today, and that's more motivating for me. And then on the other side, we have things related to my mental health. So I have a best and worst little table here, and that helps me pick like what my mental health was for that day. And then this is kind of going pretty fast, but I moved on to my budget spread, and I really like how this turned out. It's really simple. If you want to look at the spread like stagnant, I guess, on my Instagram, it is there, and the link is in the description. But basically I just made a chart with what I expect to get for my income and expenses this month, and then I have a place to track it, and then I have columns on the left page where I will keep track of, like, throughout the month I have like 4 different checkpoints to see how well I'm doing with my budget. For example, if I overspend within the first like 15 days of the month, then I will block out the rest of the spots to say I can't spend any more on that object or category. So yeah, that's what's been working for me. And then obviously we need to put some washi tape, and this washi was brand new, but I know that I've had this even since before I started bullet journaling. I feel like my mom got it for me as an art supply like years and years ago, and I finally got to use it for this theme because it was black with colors. And I also got to use this really cool like shiny metallic rainbow washi tape, and I have 2 of them. I think they're like slightly different patterns, but this one was more kind of like oil spill looking, so I chose that instead of the other one, which I think was just plain stripes, but I don't know because I put all my washi tape away right after using it, which was a good achievement on my part. But yeah, so we're just adding the washi tape, and this is going to be my weekly spread, and it's not technically a week. I just use however much space I need for the day, but sometimes it ends up with a full week, sometimes it's only 1 or 2 days because of how busy I am. But anyway, I left it kind of open, and I took my highlighters again and made those little shapes so that I could basically write over them. I'm not going to write within them or use like each one as a day or anything like that. I'm just going to kind of ignore them when I write. My cat is playing with things on my desk. Can you not do that? Yeah, and she's also in the camera right now. Cool. She always wants to be at the desk when I'm at the desk, but I'm only really ever over here if I'm making videos. So yeah, I think this was a fairly easy like theme to like do, and if you do a theme similar to this or with the same color scheme, or even if you just straight up copy mine, I don't mind. I just ask that you please tag me on Instagram if you post it, or if you want to send me a DM because you don't post bullet journal things, then that's fine too. But I like to see when people are inspired by my creations because it's fun and it's cool. So yeah, and then I flipped back to the habit tracker. Today I was kind of flipping and flopping between all the pages, but last month I did this thing where I took a mild liner and I highlighted every other line of my habit tracker, and that way it was like nice and colorful. I could help like keep track of like which thing I was looking at. So like if I look at the sew line, I know that it's white, and then even if it's like the 30th, I know what line I'm supposed to be on. And yeah, I just did a little bit of extra fun. Instead of picking one color, I just picked all the colors and alternated throughout the whole habit tracker and the mental health matrix type thing. And then I also did it on the best and worst one. So yeah, I like how it turned out. You guys know I really like rainbow. I love rainbow. Sorry for calling you guys if you don't identify as a guy or you don't like that wording. I'm usually kind of good about not saying things like that, but I slipped up, so I apologize. And once that was done, I flipped back to the note page and put a couple pieces of washi tape on there because, you know, it was kind of plain black and white and I wanted to spice it up, make it colorful. But yeah, here is the final flip through. I really like how it turned out, and if you do copy this or get inspired by it and post pictures on Instagram, please tag me. Please leave a comment on this video and tell me if you remember seeing this pattern somewhere or where you've seen it, because I feel like it's in a couple places. But yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye!